Howdy, this is YouTube video number 12. I want to go over to the works cited page and MLA formatting with you so you understand what's going on there. Pretty much everything I'm going to talk about is going to be here under the help material. Uh, all this stuff is kind of laid out in print form with the MLA lecture there. Not the most exciting thing you'll ever read, but all this is pretty important. I'll explain why here in a minute. Also, there's a sample research essay there, and we're going to take a look at that real quick. It pops up. What you'll see with the sample research essay is kind of a little introduction to MLA formatting, then of course the sample essay after that. Two important things about MLA. MLA is a way of making sure you credit your sources. It's very easy these days to go to online, cut and paste, and put it in your essay and pretend like it's yours. This can get you in a little bit of trouble. That's plagiarizing, right? Using somebody else's ideas or words as your own is plagiarism. Also, you got to use sources fairly and accurately. You can't put words in other people's mouths. You can't say according to so and so and then put something in there that they didn't say. It might even make them more mad than just straight out stealing their work. And we're going to use MLA format. That stands for Modern Language Association. Later on, we're going to be using APA format, the American Psychological Association. Just two different ways of doing the exact same thing. You want to credit sources and use them fairly. As you go through the sample essay, you're going to see my commentary there. Very important, make sure you're in 8th edition of MLA. It switched in 2016 from 7th edition to 8th edition. Most people don't go around with that information in their head. But when you get to like a citation generator, they're going to ask you, do you want 7, MLA 7 or MLA 8, and make sure you pick an 8. And I'm not opposed to citation generators, but you're responsible for the citations they generate, right? So if you don't quite know how to put the information in correctly, you're going to get wrong citations and lose points and wheeling, screaming, gnashing of teeth, and all that, right? I'm going to go over quoting, summarizing, and paraphrasing in a later video, probably later in the week. I want to focus on the works cited page. The works cited page is the listing of sources you use in your essay. For example, with the second essay, one source you're going to use is the college that you're going to go to for that academic plan. You got to cite that source. You're also going to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and you have to cite that source, and probably maybe 2 or 3 other sources in your essay. The works cited page is going to be the last page in your essay. It's also called a bibliography page in more general terms, but in MLA we call it a works cited page. And you're going to notice a few things as you look at the listings. One, everything's double spaced in an MLA paper. There are some exceptions with tables, like with your academic plan, it may be single spaced in spots. But generally, with an MLA paper, everything's double spaced once all the way throughout. You're going to notice a hanging indentation as you're listing the source there. Get off that. Won't let me highlight. All right, it's not going to let me highlight. But anyway, when you go from, as you give the entry and you go to the next line, it's going to be indented. And there's a reason for that, actually. It makes it easier for the person to read it. You guys are going to notice everything's in alphabetical order. It's not in the order you use it in your essay, and it's certainly not numbered. Please don't number works cited entries. It should be in alphabetical order. And the idea is we're going to want to find that first word on the works cited page as quickly as possible when we're reading it. By we, I mean anybody who's reading it, not the person who's writing it. But it's alphabetical order. It makes everything easy to find. And of course, the fun part is it's in a very particular format. And that's the hard part about any type of formatting, is making sure you have all this in the correct format. And to help you learn how to do the format, you have this handy dandy library handout, this MLA style handout that you're getting in class today. And what this does, it shows you how to do these entries and how to format them properly on your works cited page. If you're really having trouble sleeping at night, this is great reading to help you get to sleep. But the important thing is you learn where to look this stuff up. Very few people, memorize all the possible ways to use MLA formatting, or to create every possible form of works cited entries. So I want to go through a couple of examples, and then you're going to do a works cited page exercises in the class. Oh, wait a minute. No, I don't want to do it. Stop. Let me get into Google Docs here. Sorry, I should have already been in there. Go down to Google Docs. We'll let that load up. And to make all this formatting work, there it goes. One, you want to make sure you set everything to double spacing. Then we're going to center the word works cited. And this is how your exercise is going to work. Make sure you get out of centering, back to align left. Then you want to set it to, and I just set it to double space, right? Then you want to set it to hanging indents. To do that, go to Format, then Align and Indent, then down here to Indentation Options. Sometimes it'll prompt you to put a 0 up here, especially if you're doing this in the middle of your essay. But you can just come down here to Special, go hanging, and 0.5 is good, and hit Apply. And hopefully when you do your works cited entries, they're going to automatically do the hanging indents with you. I'm just going to go through a couple of entries, then let you get to the works cited page exercise. We're going to start with the basic book entry. This is going to be on page 3. I'm just going to do a book by one author. So let's say Emily. You can tell I'm used to typing in Word. I don't worry about capitalization. But you start with the author's last name, comma, then first name. Book titles are italicized. Then you want to get out of the italics. But this says that Emily wrote the book I Love English. MLA wants the name of the publisher and then the year of publication. And that's a basic book entry right there. You can see as you look down on page 3, that shows you, what you have to do if you get a book off a database or if you get it off a website. Different things happen when you get information from different sources. But again, if you're just looking about, if you have a book by one author, page 3 is going to be where you go to see that formatting in action. Going to go to page 6. Do a magazine article real quick. Let's say Haley read Emily's article and didn't like it. I'll make sure I'm putting something that's appropriate there. But if Haley writes an article, again, if you're going to use that in your essay, you're going to start with her last name, comma, then her first name, then the name of the article, then the name of the publication. Let's say it was Newsweek magazine. Then whatever information is required after that. If you have a volume and issue number, you're going to give that. Whoops. Got off my thing there. Then for dates in MLA, you want the day, the month, and the year, military style. And then you're going to give the page numbers. And that's what a basic magazine article will look like there. Again, that's saying that Haley Fish wrote this article. Emily has a few problems, arguing against Emily's love for English. But notice the smaller unit's generally going to be in quote marks. The larger unit, the magazine that we find this in, is going to be italicized. Then whatever information is required after that. If we get it off a database or something, and a database is an online collection of articles, we're going to learn to use those with the next essay. You're going to use the TEL databases, the Tennessee Electronic Library databases. This is free to all Tennessee residents. It's also what Northeast State and ETSU and quite a few colleges across the state actually use. So learning to use that will help you out quite a bit when you hit college. But you can see when you get into the databases, you want a little more information because you're not actually having the Newsweek in your hand. So you're going to want the name of the database in italics. Then I'm just typing anything, but you're going to want the URL there. It may go ahead and put it in blue and underline it. That's fine. Technically, MLA does not want that. But I don't care. We're not going to fight Bill Gates in this class, because we'd lose. That'll be the web address. So same article, but you're saying, hey, I found this on a database, and here's how you get there. And that's a basic magazine article that you found on an electronic source. And hopefully you kind of start to see how this works. When you get to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, you're going to go to page. Let's see here. The lighting in here is hard. I'm going the wrong way. That's my phone. Give me a second. Government publications are on page 5 there. And there's a difference between print and web and database. You're actually going to be using one off the web there for that Bureau of Labor Statistics. For general websites, you go into page 7. Now, websites can get a little hairy. Let's say Bailey has a web page out there that we want to use. Same basic format. Last name, comma, first name. The web page will be in quote marks. The website will be in italics. Then whatever information you have after that. If you want to put the last date it was updated, get out of italics. You can do that. Going back. Then you want the name of the website. And if you want to put the date you accessed it, you can kind of see it starting to turn it blue there. That's fine, especially if you think the website may change. If Bailey changes her web page quite often, you won't put the date access. So if I go on there and I don't see what you saw, that's going to be because of that access date or the last date she updated it there. Something after what's today? 14. If I hit my October 2018. So again, this is if I want to use this in my essay, I'm saying Bailey Johnson wrote it. I'm using the web page, my English page, off her website, her My Awesome Site. The last date she updated was February 2nd, and I accessed it on the 14th of October. Because sometimes that is important. If I go on there and it turns out she updated it on February 15th, that's going to change what I'm seeing as I grade your paper or what I'm seeing as I read your paper, and check your sources. But that's basically how a works cited page works. And again, you can see there's all kinds of different ways to use sources and all kinds of different sources you can use. Don't let that put you off at all. The idea of all this is that you get to the point where you're asking really good questions, not just how do I do this, but okay, I got this far. What else do I need to do? And the trick is, if you can get your works cited page done, when you use sources in your essay, there we go. All you're going to do is when you use it, you're just going to cite using the first word on your works cited page and a page number if you know it. Online sources will not have page numbers generally, although with PDF files you will. Some of these MLA and APA formats don't account for some advances in technology. When we get to APA, you're going to find that they have no clue how to do PDF files in APA. They haven't updated to account for those. But when you look through the sample essay, you're going to notice these citations in parentheses, especially if you see like a number like this $174,000. She got that from somewhere, and she's citing that source right here to tell us where she got it from. And again, I'll go over quoting and summary, the different ways you can use stuff in your essay, maybe a little later in the week. But whenever you see these statistics, you better see a citation, and McNamara better be the first word on the works cited page. Same thing with coping. Coping is in quotation marks because it's an article title. There's if there were no quote marks around it, it might be Susan Coping or Joey Coping or something, but it's not a person's name. It's the article title. So Coping and McNamara should be on the works cited page. And again, because it's in alphabetical order, and we got the hanging indents, coping's easy to find there. And there's McNamara. And if your works cited page is done correctly, citing sources in your essay becomes pretty easy. If you wait till the very end to try and do your works cited page the night before, quite often citations are off because you're not quite sure what source you're using, or you're getting confused, and things don't work out. So like here, this Carol, that's the page number 35. Carol should be on the works cited page. There he is, David Carroll. The other way you can do it, you can introduce your source. Like here's a short quote, and she's chosen to introduce the first word on the works cited page in the introduction to the quote. So here are researchers Michael Castle, Dolores Thompson, and Matthew Nathan's report. She gives the quote. And then we have the page number there with 37. But the first word on the works cited page is going to be Castle. And again, if I go to that works cited page, I'm going a little faster than Google Docs will let me, or Schoology will let me actually. And there's Michael Castle, Dolores Thompson, and Matthew Nathan's there. If you don't overthink MLA formatting, it's pretty much as simple as that. You want your works cited page in place. So when you cite page stuff in your essay, you're citing accurately and the correct source. And again, you're going to do the works cited page entry exercise in class today. I've given you the raw material. You're going to take that raw material and put it into a functional works cited page. The exercise, the entries are already given to you in alphabetical order, so you don't have to worry about that. But you're going to use this library handout to help you create your own works cited page. And of course, you're going to ask questions as you go along. And there's one that's kind of hard. I might just give you the answer to the one on Parkinson's disease. But hopefully, this is not the fun part of essay writing, the works cited page and MLA and all that. But it's very important. If you don't get this right and you get caught plagiarizing in college, it's a good way to get expelled, or on the naughty list for sure. They can bring all kinds of pain. And plus, you might fail the class. You might be forced to rewrite an essay. Nothing good happens when you just cut and paste and don't give credit. But I'm going to stop there. And we'll talk to you here in a second on number 13. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.